So the press is trying to cover up stories like this, right? This is what happens when they unleash the synagogue of Satan, right? Stray dogs eat corpses at Al Shifa Hospital amid total siege, right? I mean, they killing so many people, they can't even, and they bombing so much they can't even pick up the bodies. Dogs are eating the bodies of the Gazans, right? On the 38th day of the Israeli onslaught, right? On Gaza, medics and patients at Gaza's largest hospital crying for help. All food and water and fuel has run out. While Joe Biden, so he went from genocide, he went from Jim Crow Joe to genocide Joe, right? So while Jim Crow, aka Genocide Joe, and his cabal, right, and these people, right, these pale people, right, genocide a whole population, and they cheerlead, in France, having these France and different places, they cheerleading this, right? In America, Fox News, you got dead bodies being eaten by dogs, right? While they while they totally decimate a population of 2 million people, right? Wipe out all hospitals, all churches, all synagogues, all schools, right? They even released a report saying that all UN workers are considered Hamas and will be targeted. They're going to kill any UN workers, any humanitarian workers they find. Let me see if I can find that story real quick. But I'm going to hit that story too, right? Israeli soldier flying rainbow flags in Gaza. Disgusting, right? A woman mourns as her child and other family members by their bodies at the hospital after Israeli strikes. Look at this little baby, right? And Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. Now, in southern Gaza is where they told these people to go. They said, listen, we're going to concentrate the fight in northern Gaza. Go to southern Gaza. When they went there, they killed the baby, they bombed babies and non-combatants, right? So you dealing with the synagogue of Satan now, right? Openly, right? First it was a little more covertly, but they gave them an excuse, and now you get to openly see invisibly, in 3D, triple D, 4D, you get to see, how they get down, right? And now they got, dogs, stray dogs eating the bodies of babies and shit in the street, right? Where they told these people to go to be safe, right? They said a Palestinian doctor at the besieged Al Shifa hospital in Gaza City said Monday that all the premature babies are at risk of imminent death as fuel ran out of the facility. Babies are dying due to a lack of power. People are just dying, the babies, everybody, right? Right. Right. This is the work of Genocide Joe, right? In the synagogue of Satan, his leadership, right? Stand by. UN says Israel-Gaza war is deadly as ever for its personnel. 89 employees of the UN Agency for Human Rights and Support, I guess UNRWA, aiding Palestinians have been killed since the war began. Right? So they killing, these people have murdered not only Genocide Joe in the synagogue of Satan, not only have murdered babies, and you got dogs eating, stray dogs eating the corpses of babies and people in the streets and unleashing hell on earth, right? And killing aid workers from the United Nations, right? Almost, I think the number, it says 89, but I think it's like 100. They killed like 100 United Nations workers. Nobody said anything really about that, right? They're targeting United Nations workers. Said I think they made a statement that they consider them, the same as Hamas terrorists, right? Like nobody has any rights, when it come to them, right? They have a green light to murder any and everybody, whether you work for the United Nations, whether you a Gazan, right, whatever, right? So, but that doesn't bother anybody. That doesn't bother you that you have this group of people running around the planet doing this kind of thing, right? Not to mention uh, being in bed with, basically not in bed, but basically uh, um, running the United States, right? That doesn't bother anybody. That's just, oh, okay, oh, well, that's fine, right? See, the thing about that is, if they did that to them, they don't like Negroes. What do you think they'll do to you, right? You see, if they did that to them, what do you think they do to you? You see, that's the kicker when you watching shit like that, right? Stand by. Why the Bible said in Revelation 2:9, what does revelation mean? Revelation is to reveal, right? It's the prophet. It's the end times prophecy of John of Patmos that he gave from a dream that he had while he was on the island of Patmos while he was in prison. And he said, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. I mean, who but the synagogue of Satan and the agents of Satan would kill, 100, dozens of United Nations workers, right, with impunity, right? Who but the synagogue of Satan, right, would, destroy hospitals with innocent people, unarmed people in hospitals and babies, right, and kill, premature babies and their mothers while they're lying in their beds, right, and then claim the self-defense, right, against terrorism, right? Who but the synagogue of Satan would do that, right? Will bomb people so much they can't even pick up the bodies, and stray dogs are eating the bodies of babies and children and innocent people, right? I mean, the inhumanity of it. While people like Joe Biden and the Genocide Joe, aka Jim Crow Joe, and his minions of no good niggers, right, and the rest of them stand around and applaud, right, and applaud. These people are ripe for judgment, right? They fat for judgment. They fat, right, and full of themselves for judgment. You see. That's why in the prophecy of Joel, which is an end time prophecy of the time that we are living in right now, right? It says in Joel, right? What was Joel? Joel is the shortest book in the Bible. It's only 3 pages long. Most people don't probably realize that. In those 3 pages, Joel gave the account of a dream that he said he was given by the Lord of Hosts for the future, for the when the Lord of Hosts returns to the earth, and to for the event called salvation, where he attempts to save the remnant, right, of the original people of the earth. And in Joel 3:13, he says, "Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, and the fat overflow, and your wickedness is great." You see? He said the Lord of hosts told him that, right? That they was ripe. You see? So he has the sickle ready for them, right? He said the harvest is ripe, right? The press is full, the fat overflows, their wickedness is great. Jim Crow Joe, wickedness is great. The synagogue of Satan, their wickedness is great. You see? They kill hundreds, dozens of UN workers, right? With impunity. They kill children and babies and blow up hospitals and churches and mosques, right? With people hiding inside. And they tell you, well, there's a terrorist somewhere in that neighborhood. There's a terrorist somewhere around there. And we had to get the one terrorist, so we blew up 50 kids and women hiding in a church. You see? Their wickedness is great, right? They say, well, you blew up this school, this United Nations school with these United Nations workers and women and children and unarmed men and people in there, non-combatants. They might even been Christians. Well, they was Arabs. That's good enough, and they was Palestinians, right? Well, it was some terrorists running past, running down the alley or something, right? Or hiding behind a tree, right? There's a terrorist behind every tree, and every baby. There's a terrorist behind every baby in Palestine. This is what they want you to believe, right? So they slaughtered 5,000 children, right? And what they want you to believe is behind every one of those children that they slaughtered and left their bodies in the street to be eaten by stray animals and dogs, right? They want you to believe it was a terrorist standing behind one of those children, right? They said that they came on TV and said that the deaths of these people, they given moral authority by God to kill these children, right? This is what they came on TV and said. The Americans in the synagogue of Satan, led by the synagogue of Satan. These people at the Pentagon and Joe Biden and Kareem, that black lesbian immigrant spokesperson they have, right? They came on TV and said that when the synagogue of Satan kills these babies and children, there's a terrorist hiding behind them, and that they have a right, a moral right by God, given by God, right? That they're to do this, right? This is how they're trying to position this. This is what they're saying out of their mouths, right? That's why Job said, "For their wickedness is great; their wickedness overflows. They are fat with wickedness." You see, like Humpty Dumpty, right? I mean, who but the most wicked on earth would you know what I mean? Would make these kind of statements, right? With impunity. You see, that's why the Lord is going to destroy them, because no one on earth can impugn them, right? Stand by. While we in Joel, let's stay in Joel, and let's rap with the prophecy of Joel. Joel is a powerful prophecy. I had a wicked Negro woman tell me that Joel was the Old Testament, so it really has nothing to do with the Bible and the end times, etc. Right? Never listen to women, right? Never, ever, ever, ever listen to women. But let's stay in Joel. So in Joel, he said, "For behold, in those days and at that time," this is what he was told by the Lord of hosts in a dream 1,000 years ago, right? That what will happen in the time when he returned. He said, "For behold, when the Messiah come to save the Judean, the Semite, the real Semite, not the synagogue of Satan." See, the white man, I watch the white people, they talk about the prophecies on in the Bible, right? And they totally hack it up and lie. I mean, just the wickedest shit you ever want to hear. But see, I'm gonna tell you the real deal, right? Joel chapter 3. "For behold, in those days and at that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem." What does that mean? Jerusalem has been captured by who? By genocide Joe and the synagogue of Satan, right? Who are the Judeans? The people that they killed in those churches in Palestine, their ancestors go back 2,500 years to Judah and Jerusalem. Some of those people descend from the Judeans and the Jerusalem. Benjamin Netanyahu and people from New York City and from Kazakhstan and from Russia do not descend from Judah and Jerusalem. You see, they are converts to Judaism. What is Judaism? What is Christianity? Judaism and Christianity are two white supremacist, racist, fascist death cults ran by people like Genocide Joe Biden, aka Jim Crow Joe, and the synagogue of Satan. So the first verse in chapter 3, he says, "For behold, in those days and at that time I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem." Judah, the captivity of Judah. Judah has been captured all over the earth. The Palestinians are in an open air prison. They have been captured. Some of them are the remnants of Judah and Jerusalem. Some of the Judeans are in Brazil. They in Gaza. The Judeans are in Baltimore. Some of the Judeans are in Cuba. Some of the Judeans are in Mexico, right? You see, they have been captured, right? Jerusalem has been captured by a bunch of Europeans, you see, putting up rainbow flags, right, on dead bodies of the Judeans. How wicked can you get? You see? He said, now, let's move on. I will also gather all nations, and I will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and plead with them for my people, my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. How could that be about Israel? See, when he say Israel, Israel is a reference to two things. You must understand. Israel is a reference to a bloodline of people and not a country. In this case, right? In this case, it's a reference to a bloodline of people. Jacob, right? If you look at the Jacob, who was Jacob, right? Jacob's name was changed to Israel, you see? And his descendants, through his descendants, right? Descendants, they populated the earth, you see? And so they're in the organic bloodlines of the earth come out of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. So when he says, my heritage Israel, he's talking about the bloodlines of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, right? Who went into slavery and went into Gaza Strip and went into the West Bank eventually. And then Israel in 1948 was captured by the British, the Turks, the British, right, the Americans, and all of these immigrants from Russia and all these places. They captured Jerusalem, you see. And so that's what this is talking about. And so he says, I will gather, but in the end I will gather all nations and I will bring them down, right? The United Nations, 100 United Nations workers got killed, right? In Gaza trying to help them people. He said, I will gather all nations, United Nations, and I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. Where is Jehoshaphat? Jehoshaphat is a small town outside of Jerusalem, right? And I will plead with them for what they did to my people. They scattered them. They put them into slavery and scattered them all about the earth, and they captured Jerusalem, right? They cast lots for my people. What does that mean? They sold my people. They given a boy for a harlot, and they sold a girl for wine that they might drink. What does that mean? That they put people into slavery, right? They sold boys for prostitutes, homosexual prostitutes. I just showed you a story. I showed you the clip. I didn't show the story, but it was a clip where the Israeli soldiers put up a rainbow flag, right? In Gaza, on the bodies of dead children that are being eaten by dogs, right? Abomination upon abomination upon abomination upon abomination, right? How many abominations can you do? Right? This is the synagogue of Satan, right? Where he says you gave a boy for a harlot, you sold a boy for a homosexual prostitute. And the Lord is going to destroy y'all for that. You see? The Lord ain't dealing with no homosexual prostitutes. He ain't dealing with no rainbow flags on top of dead bodies in Gaza, right? Being eaten by dogs. This is an abomination on top of an abomination. You see? And then he says in number 4, yea, what have thou to do with me, right? In all the coast of Palestine, will you render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Meaning, what you did in Palestine and Gaza and all of this, I'm going to return that upon your head. So, Palestine and Gaza Israel is going to look like Palestine and Gaza. New York City is going to look like Palestine and Gaza, right? Denver is going to look like Palestine and Gaza. Baltimore is going to look like either that or the Bible is a lie. One or the other. right? Brussels, London is going to look like Palestine and Gaza, with dead bodies being eaten by stray animals, right? And raccoons and shit, right? Either that or chapter 3 is a lie, right? Joel, the prophecy of Joel is a lie. One or the other, right? So he says, I will recompense you for what you've done. I'm going to do it back to you. What you've done to these people, you see? I'm going to do it back to you. Right? Then he goes on to say, you have taken silver and gold, carried them into your temples, and all my goodly pleasant things. Right? Every time you look, there's a story about the Israelis, right, stealing gas and oil from people and land, about these Europeans going, stealing gold and silver. In Eritrea, the Canadians have silver, run the silver mines in Eritrea, one of the biggest silver deposit, the biggest silver deposit in the whole fucking world for you dumb motherfuckers is in Eritrea, where the Canadians run the silver mines, right? And the gold, right? They're stealing all the gold and silver. What does he say right here? You have taken my silver and my gold and carried them into your temple and all my goodly pleasant things. You see? The children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem, you sold them to the Greeks. Where are the Greeks at? Oh, that would be Europe. You sold them, Judah and Jerusalem. You put them in captivity in Gaza and in the West Bank, and then the rest of them around the world, the other tribes around the world that you took, you sold them into Europe, right? It says this right here. You sold them, right? And you remove, see, they don't want to deal with slavery. Stop talking about the past, but tell me all about the Holocaust, right? Tell me about George Washington. They don't want to deal with slavery, but the Bible says you have to deal with slavery because you sold the children and bloodlines, right, of Judah and Jerusalem, right, throughout the earth, and removed them from their borders. They're not immigrants. See, black people in America are not immigrants, right? Number 7, behold, I will raise them, right? This is powerful, right? This is powerful. This is the end times. You got to get ready, right? I'm going to rap. I'm trying to rap, but I got to read this. This is powerful. Behold, I will raise them out of the place where you sold them. I will raise them out of America. I will raise them out of the Gaza Strip. I will raise them out of the West Bank. I will raise them out of India, right? The untouchables in India, where they run apartheid against black people. I will raise them out of South Africa. I will raise them out of Brazil. I will raise them out of Mexico. I will raise them out of Colombia. I will raise them out of Venezuela, right? And Cuba, right? I will raise them out of the place where you sold them. See, them people, them white people that came there to Israel wasn't never sold to nobody, right? They were selling people. Judah P. Benjamin was a white, racist, Nazi slaver, right? A Jewish man who worked for the Confederacy and was second in charge under Jefferson Davis, or one of them nasty crackers, right? Where you sold them, right? And I will return your recompense upon your own head. You're going to get paid back. It's called karma. See, the Lord of hosts believe in karma. He believe in payback. Like James Brown. It's the big payback when he show up. It's not Jesus loves and saves everybody. That's a falsehood. That's white, racist, Nazi Christianity, right? He says, I'm going to raise them I'm going to bring them back out of all the places that you sold them, right? And I'm going to destroy all the racist Hispanics, you see? And he goes on to say, what's going to happen to you, right? This is a prophecy. This is what's going to happen to you. Your judgment. This is the judgment of the racist Hispanic and the white man and the Indian and all the rest of the heathens. This is based on the Bible. This is their judgment, right? And I will sell your sons and daughters into the hands of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, and to the people far off, for the Lord has spoken this. Did I speak it? Am I speaking this? No, right? The Lord has spoken this. But you people don't believe in the Bible. You say you do, but you liars, right? Like that, it says in Revelations 2 and 9, right? You say that you are a Jew, right? But you do lie. But you are not, you see? But they lie. You say you believe in the Bible, but you don't, right? You're making that up. You don't believe in the Bible, right? You believe in the Constitution. You believe in Israel. You got an Israeli flag or American flag, right? You believe in the KKK. You believe in whatever, right? Ideology you got, right? But the Lord is coming to bring rulership of a king. This is a monarchy, not a democracy. You won't get a vote. You either keep the law or you be destroyed. Works for me, right? I understand why it don't work for you. You claim you're a Christian. Never trust the person that said they're a Christian, right? And I will sell your sons and daughters. See, you're gonna be sold into slavery. Somebody going back into slavery. I know it ain't me. I know it ain't me. I ain't going. We already been. I just came out of slavery about 100 and so years ago, right? I ain't going back into slavery. But the Bible says in Job 3, somebody going into slavery. I wonder who it is, right? It says right here, right? It's probably people screaming that they're Christians, right? Proclaim this. He tells you who. Proclaim this among the Gentile. Prepare for war. There will be no peace in Palestine. There will be no peace no more. The peace is over with for a while. Prepare for war, right? Wake up, mighty men. Tell all of the men of war to draw near to the Lord of hosts. See, the Lord of hosts is going to draw you near when he come. He's going to say, come with me, right? I'm going to take you to war, you see. He said, beat your plowshares and get yourself a sword, right? You need a sword and a spear in the time of the Lord, right? In the time of Jesus, right? You shall need a sword, right? He says, assemble yourselves and come all the heathens and gather yourselves together round about hither, right? Because the mighty ones shall come down, O Lord. See, the Lord of hosts is going to come down, right? You got to know what that means, right? Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I sit and judge the heathen round about. What is the heathen? See, what is he saying? That the Messiah shall set up, he shall land his ship in Jehoshaphat, right? And when he destroys, finish, he's going to bring them into captivity, right? And bring them to trial. So they're going to get a fair trial, right? Genocide Joe, Netanyahu, all their followers, they're going to get a fair judgment. They're going to get judged according to the laws of the Bible and to the history of what they've done. You see? They're going to get judged by a righteous judge, right? They're going to get judged by a righteous judge, you see? He's going to sit there and he's going to judge them. Joe Biden is a heathen, is a nasty heathen. All those people in Israel are not Jews. They are nasty heathens. It says it right here in the book of Revelations. They are not. If you are not from the 12 tribes, then you are considered a heathen, you see? And so he says, right? What does he say about the heathen? I will bring all the heathen. I will wake them up and make them realize that you are a heathen, you see? You some type of a hybrid human. You are inorganic, right? I will wake them up to who they are, and I will bring them to Jehoshaphat and line them up. They shall be forced to come for judgment, right? And then he said what? What happens next? See, this is a play-by-play. The Bible's not confusing. There's no interpretation needed. You just read it, and it tells you what you need to know. Put ye the sickle. What is a sickle? A huge sword-like object that cuts down wheat. He said, put ye in the sickle. He said, I shall put you in the sickle. What does that mean? I'm going to slay y'all with the sword for what you've done and what your fathers have done and your grandfathers, you see. I'm going to put y'all in a sickle. You're going to face the sword and you're going to face slavery. That's your two options, right? Behind door number one, will be the sword. Whatever's left, right, will be slavery, right? It says, come down, the press is full, the fats overflow, your wickedness is great, right? What does that mean? I just showed you, right? Stray dog eat the corpses at hospitals of the defenseless, right? You see, the Lord is logical. Multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near, and the valley of decision, right? The valley of judgment. I'm gonna wrap this. I'm trying to wrap this, but this is so powerful, man. I gotta read this. He says in 15, the sun and the moon shall be dark, the stars will withdraw their shining. See, the day of the Lord is a dark day for y'all, man. That's why y'all don't believe in the Bible. You can't handle it. Like the man said, you can't handle the truth, right? In that movie, Jack Nicholson. You can't handle the truth, right? That's why you're not a Christian. You're not a real Christian or a real Jew, right? Because the Bible, as in the words of Ezra, is a dreadful threatening to you. It's a threat of the future judgment, right? And so he says, all that shall be dark, the sun and the moon, the stars. He said, and the Lord shall roar out of Zion, and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake, but the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Right? Is he talking about the state of Israel that was founded in 1948? No. How do we know? Well, we read the Revelations 29, 2 and 9. We know that they're not really the Jews. That means that they're not children of Israel. You see? So if you read Revelation 2 and 9, and you put that with Joel, then you know who he's talking about, stupid, right? And who he's not talking about. It's real simple. It's not confusing, right? It's only when they start talking about confusion, you know you're dealing with Satan, right? You're dealing with Jim Crow Joe, Genocide Joe in the synagogue of Satan, right? He said the Lord shall roar out of, the whole earth will shake, right? The earth is shaking right now. There's 25,000 earthquakes in Iceland. A volcano is about to explode. One of them exploded in Sicily. One of them is about to explode. I predict that volcano that explodes in Iceland is going to be catastrophic. It's going to probably be one of the biggest explosions ever, right? And not just me. The geologists are saying that they evacuate the city. They're evacuating the cities around that volcano, right? He says, and what happens when volcanoes explode? It darkens the sky. It'll black out the sky. You see? The sun and the moon shall be dark. The stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord shall roar out of Zion, right? And utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the heavens and the earth shall shake. And the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. The organic bloodlines of the earth, you see, he shall be their strength. He shall be the strength for the remnant in Gaza. You see? That's why all the Arab nations come together and they can't help the Gazans. Barack Obama, nobody can help the Negro in America. Nobody can help the Negro, the people of Mexico or Colombia, you know what I mean, or Cuba or Haiti. Nobody can help these people. Nobody can help them. They always need help. You can't get it, right? Unless you Ukrainian. Then they send you weapons and nuclear bombs and billions of dollars. But everybody else, you can't get no help. Or unless you Israel, they send a whole fucking armada and an army after you, right? And send you $130 billion, $1 trillion, right? But if you a nigger in Baltimore, well, fuck you, you're shit out of luck. That's how the cookie crumble. If you a baby in Gaza, you get bombed and eaten by a fucking stray dog, right? You're shit out of luck. Huh. It's funny how that works, right? But it says here in 16, don't worry about it, right? Don't worry about it. Why? It says in 16, The Lord shall be the hope of his people and the strength of the children. You see? And so, let's just wrap this. So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God. I dwell in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be made holy, and no stranger shall pass through any more. See, when the Messiah comes and he destroys these people, it won't be it won't be no people coming from Russia and from Germany and from New York, and they won't be colonizing, they won't be settling on no land. Well, how do we know that? Because in 16 it says, the Lord will be the hope of his people, right? I'm sorry, in 17 it says, you shall know, there shall no stranger pass through anymore. These people are strangers, right? Right here it says, they are strangers. They shall not be allowed to pass through this area. You gotta stay where the fuck you from. You have to go back where you came from. And you have to live there, right? You can't just hop up and settle on somebody's land in Gaza, or in the West Bank, or in Palestine, or South Africa, or Brazil, or in the United States. You won't be able to just hop up and settle on. Be talking about, I'm a settler, I'm a colonial, I'm a colonizer, whatever. I'm colonizing your land. That won't be allowed anymore. Makes sense to me, right? Makes sense to me. Being a colonized, enslaved person, being my descendants, that makes sense to me. But see, you know who that don't make sense to? People in Israel, Jim Crow Joe, right? Genocide Joe and his whole bloodline, right? Makes no sense. That doesn't make sense to them, right? Doesn't make sense to white people in South Africa, or the white people in England, or the white people in France, or the white American. That doesn't make sense to them. The Bible is insanity to them, right? They say, fuck this, I'm gonna be an atheist. I can't take this. This doesn't make sense. You see, when they read this, because it says, listen, that shit's gonna be outlawed. Ain't gonna be no colonization and settling and just going wherever you want to go when you want and just taking people's land and shit like that. He said, no stranger shall pass through here. You see, only the people from this land shall be in this land, right? Now let's wrap this up, right? This is powerful. Let's read the end of this. He says, 18, and it shall come to pass. What does that mean? It will happen, right? That in that day, the mountains shall drop down like them volcanoes about to explode, and new wine and hills shall flow with milk, and the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters, and a fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. You see, it's going to be good once the Messiah comes. Until then, it's not going to be good. You're going to be subject to the rulership of the synagogue of Satan. You see, then he says what? Let's wrap this. This is powerful. The end of this is really powerful. I love Joel, man. It's a powerful prophecy. He says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. My God, right? Israel, Palestine, stray dogs eat the corpses at the hospital amid a total siege. Did he lie? Did Joel lie? Did he? Or are you a liar? Or they a liar? Who's lying? Right? Who's lying, man? He says, Egypt shall be desolate. Egypt is going to be destroyed. Them filthy ass pyramids are going to be turned to rubble. You see? The Egyptians are wicked. A bunch of wicked people. Wicked heathens. You see? And it said, Egypt shall be destroyed. And Edom, the bloodlines, the non-bloodlines of the heathen. Edom is a heathen, right? The Egyptians are heathens. The Edomites are the bloodlines of these Egyptians and these people from Edom, right? It says here, they shed innocent blood, and they did violence against the Palestinians, right? The Semites in Palestine, right? And all the bloodlines of Judah and Jerusalem and Israel, the organic people of the earth, right? You shed innocent blood in their land. right? It said the Lord of hosts gonna make you desolate, right? You're gonna be a desolate wilderness. You're gonna be gone. Ain't gonna be no Mount Rushmore. All that shit gonna be rubble and dust. You see? Ain't gonna be no more Washington. Ain't gonna be no more United Kingdom. Ain't gonna be no more Brussels and none of that shit. And the UN, all that shit gonna be desolate waste, right? But but what is the but what does it say here? Let's wrap this, right? In the end, what does he say gonna happen? But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. See? The Messiah is gonna set you free forever. That's beautiful, man. You see? And he didn't say when you die and go to heaven, you're gonna be free. See, that's that Nazi, white supremacist, slave bullshit. He said, on earth, you gonna have a kingdom. And you're gonna live on earth in your land, and you're gonna be in peace. And you shall dwell forever from generation to generation in peace and happiness. And he said what? He ends and says, for I will cleanse the blood, for I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwell in Zion. See, he has to cleanse the blood, right? Because why? The blood has been defiled because you have killed the babies and stray dogs are eating the corpses in the streets. You see? So the Lord has to come. This is an abomination. And then you put up rainbow flags on the corpses of babies being eaten by dogs. An abomination upon an abomination upon an abomination. Right? This is what y'all done in front of everybody. It's not like I'm making this up. So in the end, the Lord says, man, this is an abomination. I have to cleanse the blood. You see? I have to cleanse the blood that I have not cleansed. This all has to be cleaned up and cleansed. The earth has to be cleansed. These people are a disease. You see? They are a disease that has to be cleansed because they have tainted the whole earth. That's all I got.